I'm really am sore. Did I tell you about the hike that we did? That was so killer. I can't even go
You
up and
did.
down my stairs, but my wife said I should do. You need to go up and down the stairs to get, to work out your legs if they're sore, or do lunges. She said I do lunges, and I said that would be a big step forward.
I think you still screwed it up.
Singing in the shower is fun until you get soap in your mouth. That's a soap opera. Sorry. What are we doing? What are we supposed to be doing?
I'm not even sure. Okay.
I thought we've always been recording. We should always be recording.
We should always be recording. But we're recording now.
Always be recording. Okay.
We're recording the Distracted Driving Podcast. And Stephanie, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, glad to be here. This is like deja vu.
Yeah, deja vu all over again.
Except last time we were crammed on one screen, right?
That's true. Now we each get our own screen.
Yes.
Oh, it's so nice. Man. I just want to stretch out. Oh.
So good. The last thing, the greatest memory I have of last time is the slow-mo intro.
If only we could do that again.
Dude, we need to get a clip. Do the clip. We're going to paste it in right now because of the music and the slow-mo. Remember? We were walking. No.
All right.
It was some cool like rap beat or something that I don't remember, but it was like pretty epic.
You got to remember, though, there's only like 3 people that watch this podcast. Most people listen. And 2 of the 3 people are probably on it right now.
Yeah. Well, there was 2 or 3 that watched the previous one, too. So we'll get all those together.
All right. We need to explain what the heck we're talking about for people because, one of our 4 listeners is trying to figure out when did they talk to this woman before? So the first thing we have to establish, you've got your name on the screen, Steph. Are we going with Steph today?
It was just shorter to type, quite frankly.
But do you prefer Stephanie? What do we?
Yeah, Steph is good. Stephanie, if it rolls off the tongue. The last name has changed since the last time you talked to me. I got married.
Yeah.
I had a couple kids. So world has revolved.
Yeah. Who knew? Yeah. Things happen.
And so the last time we spoke to you, at least in this setting, it was a podcast, but it was a different podcast. It was a podcast from a different era. It was the Movement Maker Show, which we have discussed here on this show before.
People get tired of us talking about it, but circa 2016, 2017.
I think it was 17. She was like one of the last episodes that I did actually.
Oh, okay, season 2 or 3.
And you know what? I totally intended and messed this up. Nobody's going to be able to see it anyway, but I've got my SG Enterprises mug today. I meant to have my I Am They mug. So Stephanie, since you, all right, let's go back. Let's play those chimes again. We're jumping in the way back machine here. When we had Stephanie on the Movement Maker Show, we were talking about recognition and gratitude, which we can dive into again here.
Remember the 2
words?
But
we were also, well, hold on. Don't go down the rabbit hole yet. Okay. We had also talked about I am they. So there's you don't need to ask permission. There's no cavalry coming. If you see a problem, go fix it. I've told the story many times about my buddy that asked when they come to change the water and the water cooler out. And so Stephanie gave me and Rex on that show mugs that said "I am they," and it was
so good.
It was very it was very Etsy-esque. I think there might have been some. I think it was a blank mug with some Sharpie, because after a few cycles through the dishwasher, it wore off. But I want to tell you, Stephanie, that the message didn't wear off, because I went and ordered a dozen mugs for my team. On one side it says industrial engineer, and on the other side it says I am they. And every time I'd get a new employee, I would give them a mug.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The
And then I
message
have to
lives
tell them the
on.
story.
And I'll have to say that wasn't my message. There was a man named Brian, who it was his. I took it from him. Maybe you took it from somebody else, but that message still stands, and I'm so glad it lives on.
Yes.
It's a
Who
great
are
message,
they?
and so maybe that's where we start. Maybe that's where we start.
Who are they?
Who are they? So
They are you.
They are
man,
you,
we're gonna get lost
and
in the
I am
pronouns. And we are us. You had worked with somebody, we'll call him Brian, and journeyed through some kind of a project where you guys, I think, had T-shirts that said "I am they" or something to that effect. I don't remember how that got us. Maybe it was just two separate instances. How that got us to the recognition episode that we did. Was that just another idea you had while working in the HR department?
I think at the time I must have been working in compensation and benefits, because it was all about recognition, and like there's a silo of HR that's all about like rewarding, recognizing, and praising employees. And a lot of companies have like I don't know, bucks, so like so and so bucks, and you say, hey, high five, you did a great job, have some bucks. And maybe you can redeem them at a store for some movie tickets or something, or a cap. And I was thinking about like recognition at the time, and counseling teams on like, you should recognize your people. They're like, yeah, what does that mean? Like, is that a high five? Do I give them bucks? And that's where the recognition thank you cube came from, is like the different psychologies and practices of like, how do you actually say thank you meaningfully?
So after we spoke last week, Stephanie, I went back, and I think I was on the road when I talked to you. And so since I was on the road, I started listening to this very podcast, because I couldn't remember how we got things started. So I went back and I listened to episodes 1 and 2. And do you know who we talk about in both episodes 1 and 2? I'll give you a hint. She's on the show right now.
Oh, you talk about me? That's great. I should go back and listen.
Yes, we did. I think we told the story, the recognition story. So we won't retell the whole thing here. People can go back and listen to the other episodes.
Oh.
And I think we also covered the I am they. And so your name, or at least things that you had imparted upon us, came up in the first 2 episodes of this very podcast.
Yeah, that's about time that we.
So obviously, right? Yeah. So, okay. We spoke last week, and we started to have a good conversation, and I said, stop. We have to record this. This is great podcast fodder. I have slept several times since then, so I had no idea what we were talking about.
Of course.
It was all about intros. We were just catching up on life, right? It'd been a couple of years. I think I said something about I'm no longer a young HR professional.
That's right.
You're an older.
And I said, oh, does that mean you left HR?
And I said, no, not HR. I'm just, and I'm still professional for the most
Oh,
part, even though I work at a startup now.
Yeah. So
oh,
so
cool. Tell us about that.
where are you now? Take us on the journey.
Yeah. So it's been a wild journey, but for the last 6 months, I've been at a startup located out of Seattle called Brinc, and I'm
Oh
the head of
yeah.
HR there. A powerful,
Brinc.
that's
Yeah,
right, and thank
I
you.
saw that link
And
actually. I looked
they
at
build
that.
drones, and our drones save lives. They're non-weaponized, and they go into emergency situations. Imagine, someone's in a car and maybe they're danger to themselves or others, or stuck in a house, barricaded themselves in a house. Law enforcement professionals can use them to enter the house. It's a flying cell phone, right? So you fly this drone in, it goes up to the person, it finds them, it lands, someone calls the line and says, "Hey, do you need help? Do you want to talk? What's going on?" So instead of setting a person into a very high octane kind of environment, we're saving lives on both the law enforcement side as well as the person who's inside the house, and lives get saved every day. This product is in use in the world, and so it's been very cool to be supporting their team from an HR perspective.
That's
Um,
cool.
the
So
videos
awesome.
are there two versions of the product? Because the videos I've seen on the website, it looks like they're throwing a
Like a
ball
little ball. Yeah.
into a room or a
So we have a drone, and then our second product is what we call the Brink Ball, and it's like a super rugged. I mean, like you can like hit it with a baseball bat, you can drop it off a one-story building, and it's still intact. And this is probably very in line with what the show is about, because the status quo solution for this kind of like how do we get a communications device to somebody who needs it in the field is like imagine like ye old phone, like just like a brick with like an antenna
yeah,
coming
like
out. Like
the
it's
Zach Morris
something
phone.
it's
Yeah.
something I don't know who that person is, but I
Oh
imagine
my
it's right.
gosh.
It's just like this really archaic device that costs a lot of money, doesn't work very well. You give it to the person, they hang up on you. It doesn't fit the product doesn't fit the issue, right? And so we designed the Brink ball. So like here, you throw this in, you roll it down, and they can't hang up on you, and it's cheaper, and you can call it.
I'm gonna give one to my kids if they can't hang up on me.
Stick it in their backpack. I like that.
That's
First of
awesome.
all, Zach Morris was the lead character in a show called Saved by the Bell about a bunch of high school students. And this was back in the
Yeah,
early
you're
or mid
dating yourself.
90s. And he
Yeah.
had a cell phone, and it was what you described. It was the old school brick cell phone.
Hmm.
Rings a bell.
Ahead of its time.
Nice. I see
Saved
what
by
you
the
did
Bell.
there. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, how did you end up at a startup as the head of HR?
Well, they found me, first off. So, and that's quite a story, actually, because I was 8 months pregnant, and we can go into a long story about looking for a job while being pregnant. But
Oh.
they called me and they said, "Hey, we love your profile. We love what you've done. Would you ever come to a startup? We're in Seattle. We'd love to talk to you." And I said, "You don't want to talk to me. Like I'm 8 months pregnant. I can barely get out of bed. Like I can't even think about moving to a new job." And they said, "Just talk to us. It's not a deal breaker. We'll even let you go on mat leave. We'll let you have your baby." I was like, "This baby's coming." And we just want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
long story short, I jumped in. I did a little bit of mat leave, a little bit of work. It all kind of blended together. And
Wow.
yeah, I have a 6-month-old baby and a 7-month-old new job, and both are doing well.
That's
So they
awesome.
found you. This was you were 8 months
Congratulations.
pregnant with your second child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they poached you.
From where
Yeah,
though?
they lured me over.
Oh, you were just being mom.
Yeah, from
Oh no, so
So,
I was working at PitchBook. It's a
oh,
fintech company. Does a lot of private
oh,
equity data. Very cool company. It was too good
is
of an
that
offer to refuse.
is that where you went from after you left Boeing, or when we know you?
So I went on this journey after Boeing. So I left Boeing and I went into journalism. And Yeah, so I worked for TV News. So if you're from Seattle, you know King 5 News. So I was
Yeah.
the HR support right behind all those anchors and journalists working hard
No
out in the
way.
field. And I was, in HR when the COVID story broke. So if you
Oh,
recall, roll back the clock, the first COVID case in the US was discovered in Seattle.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was riding on the front lines with the whole team while they were breaking the story. And literally, as that story was breaking, we were meeting on the back end, the operational team saying, we got to send everyone home. This is real. And so, in the course of just a couple of days, we moved our whole, just imagine like old school TV news studio, right? There's cameras, they're in the studio. The anchors, they're in the studio. We're not made for remote. Everything is like big, huge wires. Everything is connected
Oh,
together. There's an
yeah.
old board that you push buttons to like fade and slice and things I don't understand the engineers do. We moved that whole thing digital in like a week because it was just
Oh,
so urgent. So that was my wild time in journalism was started off by COVID.
wow. That is cool. And how long were you
You
there?
know,
I was there for probably about 2 years.
Oh, nice.
so basically through COVID.
Yeah. Well, COVID's not over yet, I think. Can we say that?
Yeah. Oh, I'm calling it. Yeah, it's over.
Oh, okay. That's good to
COVID,
know.
COVID as we knew it in 2020. Yeah, we know a lot more
It's
now.
a new COVID now.
Yeah, I guess we can say post-pandemic world, can't we?
Yeah.
I think I did say. I think I have said that several times on the podcast. We refer to things as either pre-pandemic or post-pandemic here. So man, that's interesting. So you were there for 2.5 years. Then you went to PitchBook, and then Brinc plucked
Hmm.
you plucked you to the Brinc. So you did HR, and you were at Boeing. Then the other three different industries, different service offerings, but you were still doing HR.
Oh yeah.
Which one was the most challenging from an HR perspective? Okay, well, you're going to have to wait for the next episode to find out the answer to the question of what was the most challenging HR role in Stephanie's career so far.
Yes, cliffhanger. We got it going on. We think we got to keep it coming back.
I'm
We
liking
don't
these
think there's any
cliffhangers.
other reason you're going to come back and listen to the next one except to find out the answer to the question. So, hey
And
man,
it's
whatever
not
you
lost on
do.
us that we didn't properly introduce ourselves or the guest. So I guess maybe we're Tarantinoing this one. Actually, that's not even a Tarantino because that would be starting with the end. We're ending with the start. I'm Sean Genovese,
I'm Rex Williams,
and
and
that
that
was
was who?
Stephanie Van Ash.
Stephanie. We're so sorry, Stephanie. I'm sure she's not going to watch this. She
I
might.
hope somebody does.
Somebody
Okay.
somewhere is going to watch it. All
Well,
right.
I tell you what, if you didn't watch this one and you didn't listen to this one, then we're just talking to ourselves anyway, and you should go listen and watch the second one.
Yeah. Coming right up.
Right after this.